So I would group banks into two different camps.
What should buyers look for in banks? And maybe a better question is like, what do you look for in banks that you partner with? And then what should like a searcher kind of think about as they think of a bank to partner with?
Yeah, no, I'd say first of all, I like to use the phrase business buyer instead of searcher, just because I think we're all kind of searchers philosophically, right? I'd say business buyers, what I think they should look for in a bank. So there are kind of two sides to getting the deal done. So like one is the financing process to close, but then there's the portfolio management. And so the first thing I would say is, what is the actual post-approval closing process going to look like? Does the bank have a very experienced closing team where the closers at the bank understand, the nuance of purchase agreements? Who is the law firm that the bank works with? Not all bank legal counsels are created equally, unfortunately. So I would say ask around there, poke around Search Funder, poke around Twitter to kind of ferret out based on who the bank attorney firm is. Is that something you can get comfortable with? Does the bank use DocuSign, or are they still a pen and paper bank? I work with banks in both camps, some which will take longer to migrate than others. How many business acquisition deals does the bank do per year? What size deal do they typically do? And do they have a maximum unsecured amount that they're willing to finance? So I would group banks into two different camps. There are banks where they're very much focused on the cash flow of the business and thinking about if the cash flow of the business is strong, if the buyer is a sharp operator, if they have good post-close liquidity and a good business plan, things should hopefully go well, even with them being the exogenous factor entering the equation. And so those specific banks, Aaron, I would say even on larger deals, they're not opposed to financing them if all the stars align, the boxes are checked. But then there are banks where, if you're looking for more than $1.5 million, 2 million, sometimes 3 million unsecured, where there's just the GBSA, so the lien on the business assets, and there's no hard collateral, the people at the banks with the gray hairs start to get the wrenches in their stomach and they just don't get comfortable. So that's one thing I would say. Another thing is really understanding after you close in the business and you get the financing from the bank for the SB loan, does the bank have a portfolio management team? And is that internal or is that external?